You get cut. Don't tell me you can't do what you love to make a living and to make a great living. So what's next? How do you succeed in business as a 31-year-old guy coming out of the NFL? What's your passion? And the only way you know your passion is I had to dive in to broadcasting, front office. I interned with the Seahawks, you name it. And I 2 years, I dove into all this stuff. But to me, it comes back to one thing: people. Yeah. It's relationships and it's people, and it's finding the passion. When we wake up tomorrow, man, what are you doing? What are you doing? Because in my humble opinion, it's life by design.
Welcome to Limitless Minds, the podcast where curiosity meets greatness. Each week, co-host DJ Eidson and Harry Wilson sit down with some of the most exceptional individuals across sports, business, and beyond. From world-class athletes and peak performance coaches to visionary CEOs, entrepreneurs, and influential authors, they dive deep into the stories and strategies that drive extraordinary success. If you're ready to discover what it takes to be truly limitless and push beyond your own limits, you're in the right place.
On today's episode of Limitless Minds, we have Charly Martin, a former NFL wide receiver who played from 2009 to 2013 with teams like the Chargers, the Panthers, the Seahawks, the 49ers, and the Jaguars. He has a tremendous story of grit, resilience, and endurance as he took a path from under-recruited to undrafted to a journeyman in the NFL. He transitioned post-career to be an executive at several successful startups, including Wheels Up, West to East, and Reel. Charly is a good friend with a passion for building legacy and impacting people. Enjoy.
I mean, listen, going from Division II to the NFL, right? But that was it, man. And I laid in the end zone, and I was ready to go attack what came next, and that's what I did.
That's incredible. That's great.
Yeah.
So you're laying there, right? So you get up, and game's over. Then, like, how do you go from that and in preparation for what's next? Tell us a little bit about the next chapter of your life and going to the NFL.
Well, I think you used the word, right, that we all use: preparation. Right? What's your game plan? What are you doing? Right? You gotta have a plan, man. Mm-hmm. Right? Another tip, it's so funny. I know we all have kids, but as you have kids now, you feel like you get all of these lessons. I sometimes look at my kids, I'm like, do you guys think like I'm coaching you every single day? Right? But it's like, you feel like you have all this knowledge to share. Right? And Harry, hey, real, right? Like, we didn't have fathers, right, all the way through our life. Our dads passed away, right? And I tried, DJ too. I tried to be something because I loved my dad, man. He was my best friend, right? I still think about today, if my dad was around, he'd still be my best friend, right? And seeing that, and these families that get to work together. So it's like, you try to share, but I joke with my kids, like, am I overdoing it? Like, am I coaching you on everything? But I was explaining to my son what's like, we're not just going to we don't go through the motions. The Martins don't go through the motions, Harry. Like, if we do something, we're going to go do it, right? Like, we're not going to just go through the motions. And so I think that in life, like, you can't do that, right? And so I think a plan. And at that point, DJ, I had a plan. I had found an agent. Once again, I think relationships. I think that, I'm in the relationship business now, I think. And, I had made relationships. I used every connection I could to get an agent, right? Because that whole game. And remember, I hired an agent, Jack Mills, one of the most legendary agents. I agreed to pay my whole way on everything. He wasn't going to pay. They weren't going to pay for anything. No training, no combine. But right, I knew one thing. I knew that I had to go work, right? So finished 08. I moved to Scottsdale, Arizona with my quarterback. We're in a little apartment, man. We're getting food delivered. We're doing the whole thing. We're training at this place in Scottsdale, right? Like, we're doing it all. Neither of us get invited to the combine. But we were bound and determined, and we did what it took. And, for me, I knew I had to run a good time in the 40. I had to be in the 4.5s, right? And so ended up doing that and having an amazing pro day.
What'd you run?
And I knew, what do you think I ran?
Well, you said you're in the 4.5, so I'm gonna say
I knew I had to run in the 4.5.
I'm gonna say a high 4.5. I'm gonna say a 4.59.
First one I clocked a 4.43. My second one, I was a 4.51, right? But at pro day at West Texas A&M, we set it up, and here's all. And this is the thing, right? They're gonna, like, if you're good enough, they'll find you, right? Yeah. And we had this awesome pro day, and Keith and I crushed it, and so I, at that point, you've done what you've had to do in terms of what the NFL says. Hey, you got to check these boxes, right? And so we did that, and I knew one thing come draft time. I knew that I had to have an agent, because a lot of times, right, there's these up and coming agents and they'll offer you different things, but can they really get the phone answered, right? And so I knew I had to have an agent that could get the phone answered. So if Charly Martin goes undrafted, I need a guy that can pick up the phone and, hey, Harry, give this guy a shot. Right. And my only thing was going into the 2009 NFL draft was one thing. It was really simple. Get me in the door. Right. All I need, get me in the door. At that point, you get me in the door, I'll take it from there. Right. Mm-hmm. That's all I wanted. That's all I needed. And that's what happened. I obviously went undrafted. My quarterback went in the 6th round, which was awesome. I thought I was going to maybe go 6th or 7th. I was fielding the calls. I was doing the thing. But I go undrafted. And, it's interesting at this point, I think it's still a thing today is, if you're getting in that 6th, 7th round, right, the money, the signing bonus, right, like at some point going undrafted, I had 5 offers, right? So immediately we're looking at who are the receivers, where do you have a chance to make the team, right? Everyone knows that the rosters are 90, they cut to 53, right? So like, it wasn't about just signing. Where can I go make the team, right? Yeah. And so I was able to choose, and I signed with the San Diego Chargers.
Yeah. What a benefit of being at that point. You're probably 24 years old, right?
I was a little older. I was 28, 29. A couple red shirts.
I mean, but to be able to be that thoughtful about the process and that discerning, I think is incredible, because I mean it's like that wasn't luck, right? That was opportunity and hard work, and that's
I think it's back to the game of life, right? Which way are you turning? What are you choosing, right? And I think they're all of that were consequences or results of prior decisions, right?
Yeah. I just think it helped to have sometimes it's also like who you're doing the work around, right? And you had a quarterback that obviously you played with for a number of years, and that also was talented enough to be considered in the draft, in this case, drafted in the 6th round. So, from going to Arizona and training to the pro day and, having yet another reason for scouts to be down there because you got a guy that's throwing the rock that is NFL caliber like you, that had to be a good kind of forcing function for both.
Yeah, it was awesome. And there's other guys in there, but I think, Harry, it's interesting. Keith was also a Charly, right? Like we ended up at West Texas A&M, right? And I think this is where God has a plan, right? Being a great human, who do you do life with, right? Yeah. And Harry, we talk about this all the time. Our kids are friends, right? Like who do you choose to do life with, right? Like life's too short, man. Like life's too short. Like well, we get to wake up and do it the way we want to do it. And that's where I feel so blessed. I don't know how we all landed at West Texas A&M in the middle of nowhere. Like, I don't know. Right. And I had a good, Keith got 2 years, quarterback before Dalton Bell, right? Like I had a series of good quarterbacks who all made NFL runs, which is interesting. But I think that it's a shared mindset. It's a shared vision. It's a shared work ethic. Right. And listen, I don't want to get into where college sports is at today. It's awesome, and I believe guys deserve to get compensated for what they do. There's no question. I'm just going to say this. It was different back then. Yeah. It was different back then, right? We were in Canyon, Texas, man. Like we stayed in the summers. We grinded it out in the weight room, right? And as I look back and people ask, well, what do you miss the most? Or what was the best moment? I mean, listen, I got to play for 5 years at the highest level and run out in front of 80, 90,000 people. And I got to do all that. But you know what I miss, man? I miss those summer workouts. I miss those off seasons in the NFL. I miss the locker room. I miss grinding. And I think it's one thing. It's a shared interest. You have 53 guys in the NFL working towards one common goal. Division II football, we had 120 guys, right? Working towards one common goal. I mean, you're really out at 5 a.m. with cars parked to give you light, and you're running sprints on the football field. But you're doing it with your brothers, right? And you're not alone. I joke, I'm a team athlete guy, man. Like I'm a team athlete. Like golf, I love golf. I wish golf somehow created a team format, man, because I love being a team. Hey, Harry, you may crush a drive, I may miss one, but I'm going to get the putt for you, bro. Right? Like, I love it.
Well, and what's interesting is golf is starting to come up with these more like teaming aspects to in professional golf, which has actually been really interesting to watch. I mean, I certainly have college golf. You're on a team, but now with Live and like that, the Tiger Wood, that indoor Tiger Wood stuff. Like it's kind of fun to kind of follow like the team aspect of that sport for all the
Judah. I know you guys know Judah, pastor of mine, dear friend. Yeah. On that kind of team, I think it's you look at life, man, and 2025 and social media and all this craziness, right? Judah, I'll never forget this story Judah told, and I think it's so true, right? So one night, and he, laid, kids were in bed, and his wife Chelsea was in the bath, and he's walking in, right? His kids are down. I'm gonna roll in. Chelsea's in the bath, and he walks in, and she's just bawling, right? And Judah's like, what's wrong? Like what? Like what happens? Right. And I may not be telling this story exactly right. So Judah, Chelsea, I apologize. But this is the impression it left. But it was like, social media scrolling, someone had cancer, no one that maybe that or you do life with, but you see it in this horrible story. And I don't even remember what it was. Right. I don't know if God created our soul to be able to handle all of that. Right. God created our soul for your brothers and your people and whoever that crew is for us, because you're not meant to do life alone. But I don't know. Are we meant to scroll through social media and see all this? Are we meant to turn on the news and hear all this craziness? I don't know. I don't have the answer. I just posed that, like, that's the question Judah posed was like, I don't know. I don't know if God, like back then, and like you didn't know, like, DJ, I love you, but if your friend's mom's friend from high school has something, I probably don't know about it.
Right.
But now I might. Now I might though. Right. Because we have this access.
Yeah.
Right. And so I think that, man, it's powerful, right? Like who do you choose to do life with?
Yeah.
Like who are now you got to have those people, right? Man. You got to have those people.
Yeah.
Right. I don't know how far that can go.
Yeah. It's a really good question. I mean, I think too, it's like everybody processes things different too. So like my wife is like, she's got a really empathetic heart. So as she reads those posts, I mean, she feels all of them. You know what I mean? Where some people process things where they're a little bit more distant or whatever. And so you're right. It's really an interesting question. It's funny how often, Charlie, when we're talking to, high performers like yourself, that social media and its impact, both positive and negative, come up. I mean, the topic is, and I think we're so far in it right now. I was talking to a friend this morning actually about this, where we're saying I almost feel like the phone and social media is like our generation's cigarette. Like when they first got tobacco was first released, they didn't know the risk of it. They didn't have the warnings on the packs. They didn't know how much is too much or whatever it is. It's almost like that right now. We are the guinea pigs. We're the test dummies for it, and how we consume and what we consume. Just like our late friend Trevor would always talk about is really important. I had the opportunity to see Judah speak at Trevor's eulogy, and he did Trevor the funeral. And what a powerful speaker, man. That's a great friend you have there, and he's blessed a lot of people with his message for sure. No question.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned earlier being like in the relationship business, and we'll talk about kind of how you shifted from sports to business. But, in the NFL, you played for a few different teams. You played for the Chargers, played for the Panthers, played for the Seahawks, played for the Niners and the Jags, right? Did I miss anything? That's right.
No, you're good. You're good. So, Jags twice. And, obviously you caught some of Russell's first touchdowns in the preseason of 2012, and grateful for you to catching those bad boys. Cause I think he got his opportunity and, as a part of that. But, we've talked about this kind of a little bit in our relationship, Charlie, like relative to like relationships, whether it be in the league or professionally, if you're in sales or if you're in business and you're doing whatever you're doing, how important relationships are. Right. And, part of the NFL, part of the beauty of the NFL and being an NFL alum is like, the brotherhood, right? And the relationship built. Now, you were in some of these stints, a year, 2 years, et cetera, coming back to Jags, boomeranging back there. But like, how did you like, what kind of relationships were you able to foster when you're not at a place for so long? And also while you're there, oftentimes you're competing with dudes for the same spot. Tell us a little bit about some of the people, and some of the people that kind of inspired the way you think today, how you thought when you were there, and that might have inspired the way that you lead and the way that you kind of go about your work today. It's such a good question, Harry, and there's so much there that I could talk to you guys about all day. Right. I think I'll start my rookie year with the San Diego Chargers in the locker room. It's interesting. You're this kid and you sign this contract and you report, and it's just this. You're walking into an NFL facility, and right, it's all this everything, right? And that Chargers team, man, Phillip Rivers, LT, Antonio Gates, Vincent Jackson, Malcolm Floyd. I still say, I think one of the best teams to never win a Super Bowl. That team was loaded. But here you are, right? And there's the jersey hanging and but the interesting thing, and this isn't any of those guys' fault, and it's not anything, it's just a culture. It's not a very welcoming place, man. It's not a very welcoming place for someone like myself, for the undrafted free agent. Listen, you're the first round draft pick, you're on the private jet, you're coming in. And I think this is the thing. I think I tell people about the NFL a couple of things. One, 32 teams, all completely different. Yes, the National Football League governed down. It's no different than any other team's businesses. They're so different, right? So I think there's a misconception in terms of like, oh man, you're in the league. Like the Lions facility is going to just be like the Seahawks facility and the Steelers facility. Like wrong. They're independent businesses that they all choose to do different things, run their businesses in different ways, right? So I think that's the first thing. The second thing is like, there's so much difference, right? Like I used to use this example. Think about cornerbacks. Pick your position. But I always think about cornerbacks. Easy number. There's 2 cornerbacks, right? There's 2 starting quarterbacks. Okay. Look at some of the stats. X cornerback over here is making $20 million a year. The guy starting on the other side doing the exact same job, is he making $500K, $1 million, $2 million? Like, is there really that much difference? Right? I mean, you think about this, like the scope of what X guy gets paid versus what X guy gets paid. X guy may be a little bit better. I'm not saying that. But like, man, it is
20X, right?
It is like, it's crazy, right? Yeah. And I don't think that's the real world in a lot of cases, right? I think if you've reached a level of success in whatever that field is, and you're really that elite, you're probably similar. I don't know, right? But like you think about a team. So anyways, I always said that. But, then you get into a locker room, and I say that to lead into this. You're an undrafted guy. You're the 85th, 86th, 87th, 88th, 89th guy that rolls in. No one cares about you, man. Yeah. No one cares about you. And I'm not saying there wasn't certain individuals within these organizations that didn't care about you. I'm not saying that. But just very generally speaking, nor do you think the starting offense cares? Like some kid from Division II school rolling in, like, bro, no one helps you. Okay. No one helps you. Right. Couple stories I'll share quickly, but shaped my thinking is I'll never forget sitting in the ice tub. Like, bro, I didn't even know where to go. I'll never forget walking in. This is one of the best because this is real and real keeps coming. Thank God Kenny Dick there.
That's what we're going to call this episode, the real episode.
But this is real. I'm in the San Diego Chargers locker room. It's my first day. Yo, Division II football. Bro, we went to the convenience store and bought gallons of water. We did not get water. Like there was nothing free in Division II football. Nothing. No. Like I roll in and I see the Gatorade cooler with like the waters and the Gatorades and the protein shakes. And like, well, no, I didn't know if they were. I thought you had to pay for them. Like, I didn't know you could just go grab a water. Like you know, like oh dope, like right. But like it's seriously that's no one's helping you. No one's telling you what to do. Right. And so it's just really awkward. Like you're in the highest level in the world and now you're thrown into this thing. Good luck. You already have no shot to make the team, supposedly. Right. You're here to do whatever and you got to feel it out. But I'm sitting in the cold tub one day after practice. I discovered, you can use this. You can use hot tubs and cold tubs and like, you can do this stuff. And there was 2 other guys in the cold tub. Man, but you would have thought I was invisible. Like didn't exist. Like, I mean, they're full on conversation, doing their thing. 2 vets, by the way. Who were invisible, like not a word, not a comment. Like I remember they were kind of like sitting on the steps. I had to like walk through them to get in, bro. I think I went over them. Like there was like, it was like this whole thing, but it shaped one thing that really important to this conversation. Cause I think it's where my relationship and partnership started with your brother, Harry, was I vowed to myself to do that one day. And this is early on. This is like 2 weeks into my NFL career as a rookie. I said, listen, if I ever make it, and I don't mean make it by this, that, make it as in like if I ever feel comfortable, because I didn't feel comfortable. I didn't. I was completely uncomfortable, right? And guys like us, we like to put ourselves in uncomfortable situations, but this wasn't a good uncomfortable. Like, yo, I'm a part of the team, yo. Like I'm wearing the NFL logo too. Like, what's up? Like I'm your teammate, right? No, no. Like, right? But it's like if I ever make it, and I see that guy walk in that locker room, I'm going to go up to him. And I'm going to make sure that they feel comfortable.
Good for you, man.
Right? And first person that ever happened to was sitting in Seattle Seahawks locker room. I'll never forget sitting in my locker that day. And in walks this 3rd-round draft pick from Wisconsin. We just signed Matt Flynn to this big contract. I'm sitting there, in walks this kid with his backpack.
Little guy.
I didn't know little guy, little short guy.
Yeah.
I didn't know Russell. I never talked to Russell. I knew we drafted him in the 3rd round, right? And I can see this clear as day. It was that moment of the San Diego cold tub. Like, something told me that's him. Like, make sure he's comfortable. Like, that's you, man. Like, here's this new kid, right? And so that was obviously in 2012, and I had got to a point where I guess I somewhat felt comfortable, or I felt like I could go do that and share that experience with him. But anyways, here, I don't even know what you asked, but I just
that's what I was asking about, these relationships, things that like kind of left an indelible. You talked about fingerprint or footprint behind. Sometimes you leave the footprint, sometimes people leave that on you, right? And it's and it can go either way. The footprints are still there. The footprints, what direction do they send you in as far as how you lead and how you think about life and how you think about your mindset and whatnot. And so, I mean, that's and I'm sure there's 10, 12 other stories similar that have kind of guided some of your own ethos and approach in what you do. I mean, it's probably how you're guiding, how you're leading your house, with Courtney, your wife, and your 3 kids, and particularly little Charlie, who's the oldest. And by the way, for those that don't know, like, Charlie the 5th needs some NIL money. Like, now to start getting like that, because this kid, Charlie, little Charlie's a baller, dude.
Is he 11 now?
He's 11 now. 11. I know, it's crazy. He's 11.
He's a little baller. So he's next gen, but you coach him, and and you'll coach your other kids, I'm sure. You coach and you leading them at home, and so, like, these things kind of leave a yellow brick road for how you lead, both in business and in life. So, I mean, those are the things that I'm really curious about, and I think that it's fascinating. Go ahead, DJ.
No, I was just going to say it's fascinating though, because it's just like, you think about, you mentioned how all of these teams are different. They have a different culture. And, you think about those 2 vets that were in the cold tub and the way they treated you. They didn't just treat you like that. And you get, this game, whether it's professional football, basketball, it's really a game of inches, and just, the difference between good to great is so small. And so for that person that's in the cold tub with them to want to run through a wall, or to, do the extra thing that it takes to win a championship, they're just not going to do it if they're treated like that from a culture perspective. But when you talk about culture, it is really important that you lead by example. And it's so cool that you were able to take a negative experience and then wrap it in and change, really the culture, or help add to the culture that the Seahawks had. When you think about business, and and you take some of these things that you've learned from professional sports and you apply them to business, what are some of the things that you see there that have really set top performers apart, top leaders apart, as you transitioned into the business world?
Yeah, I think that, one thing, the transition, from being the best in the world to being out in business, and I'll get to kind of my thoughts on that, DJ. But I think, talk about mindset. When you talk about transition, I can't think of another, and I'm sure there's something out there, but like, you become the best in the world. And I'm not saying that about myself. I'm just saying I was fortunate to play in the NFL. Everyone knows the statistics of, what those odds are of high school football players that make it to the NFL, right? And then, I always would say, let's say there's 4 or 5 active receivers on the NFL, right? Like, Harry, your brother and I talk about it all the time. Man, he's one of 32 in the world. There's no one else. That's a fact, right? He's one of 32 men in the world that get to be a starting quarterback in the National Football League. That's a fact. It's a fact, right? Yep. One of the things, Harry, you mentioned youth coaching. One of the things I do when I coach my son, I have to say, coaching Crosby, flag football Corso, they're on the same team. she's balling on the boys, by the way, right? Playing with the boys, flag football. But anyways,
her mom was a baller though. Courtney was a hooper, right?
She's a hooper. Courtney was a hooper. We get some nasty one-on-one games going on in the backyard. But facts. I tell the kids when I coach them, I'm going to tell you guys facts. I'm not going to give you opinions. I'm going to tell you facts. If I say something to you, I'm going to tell you it's a fact, right? And so I think that as you look at these different things like the numbers and this and that, but the one thing as you transition out of the NFL into business or whatever you may do, like fact, you become one of the best in the world. And it's like waking up the next day. Like Harry, our good friend Kabir Shahani, I tell Kabir this, like he's reached this level of success in the technology world, and he's this great entrepreneur and one of the smartest guys I've ever met. And he started these companies. But like Kabir, what happens if you woke up tomorrow and you were no longer able to be in that field? Nowhere close. Nope. Done, gone, goodbye. Go do something else. Right? And that's the transition out of the National Football League, man. Like I woke up one day and I was done. Now, I could have gone into coaching. I could have gone into front office, could have gone into media. I'm not saying there's not things where you touch football and you're around football, but I caught a football to make a living. That's what I did. I made tackles because I played special teams. I had more tackles than I did catches. Quick stat there. But like that's what I did for a living, right? I wasn't a coach with a headset. I wasn't a GM in an office. I got paid to be between the white lines, right?
Yeah.
So now that it's gone, done, you can't do that. Heck, you can't. DJ, I know you hoop. I can't go play like adult football tackle.
Right. That's true.
It don't exist, man. Harry, I know Harry plays on the adult softball team or whatever, right? There's no football, right? And so I say that as you think about business or DJ, whatever that transition is, it's got to be the same.
Yeah.
It's got to be the same for me. So what made me great? What made me able to achieve this level of playing in the National Football League for 5 years, right? So as I transitioned into business and tried to figure that out, for me, it was really clear. Passion, right? I am someone, and this is where like, man, I will go all in on this with you guys. Like, don't tell me you can't be happy, love what you do, make a good living, support your family, be present as a father, be present as a husband, enter whatever your scenario is. Don't tell me you can't love what you're doing.
That's right.
I don't believe it. I don't buy it because I was a kid that people said it will never happen. You can't do it. You have to represent. That's not a real career. You have no scholarships. You go Division II. You're undrafted. You get cut. Don't tell me you can't do what you love to make a living and to make a great living. So what's next? How do you succeed in business as a 31-year-old guy coming out of the NFL? What's your passion? What's your passion? It's no longer football, DJ. I'm done. Yeah. I'm over. I can't play anymore.
Yeah.
So what's your passion? The only way you know your passion is I had to dive in to broadcasting, front office. I interned with the Seahawks. You name it, interned with a coaching staff. Like, okay, I think I want to coach. I think I want to be a GM. I think I want to do this, but I've never done it. I've done one thing. I played football, man.
Yeah.
People ask me about a resume. What do you want my resume? Google it. Like I played football. What do you want me to put on there, man? Right? Yeah. Like I can give you all the awards and the honors and the academic All-Americans. I can give you that, but I played football. Yeah. I caught a football to make a living. It was my passion. It's what I said I was going to do. So now you're transitioning into business. What makes you great at business? I got to find the passion, DJ. Like what was it that was going to fill that? Right. And I 2 years I dove into all this stuff. But to me, it comes back to one thing: people.
Yeah.
People.
That's powerful,
right. It was
man.
people. I missed the locker room. I missed the coaches. Man, you look at my cell phone, the C's. If you guys knew how many said coach, because the one thing that I did realize is that relationships matter.
Yeah.
Relationships were king. I want to do life with great people. There is going to be a life after football. I got to stay in touch with these people. They're the best in the world. I want to do it. And so you keep these relationships, but as that passion kind of shifted, man, and there's so much more to that story of how I got to what I'm doing now, but it's people. It's relationships and it's people, and it's finding the passion. When we wake up tomorrow, man, what are you doing? What are you doing? Because in my humble opinion, it's life by design.
Yeah. I love it, man.
You're in control, DJ. You're in control, Harry.
I mean, that's how we started this too. You said it's life by design. I think that if you wake up and you exercise that, we talk about setting an intention every day. I mean, if that was your intention every day, this is my life by design. Imagine what your life could look like. And I think you blessed a lot of people, man, with this podcast for sure in this episode, dude. And your passion comes through. There's no question. And I would encourage you to continue to impact people the way you are and keep impacting Russell and all the folks around you.
Here's what I'd like to do, Charlie, is like, I'd love to get your commitment right now for a part 2 at some point.
Yes.
Because I want to dive a little deeper into, the corporate athlete mindset. You know what I mean? You were early starting, Wheels Up with Kenny Dichter and team. That flourished. Talk about a rocket ship. You're now kind of onto another project called Real, hence the hat you're wearing. That is going to kind of be the next thing, and they were represented well at the Kentucky Derby down in my hometown, and so you've definitely put the passion and the people together to kind of formulate a really great post career that I want to learn more about. I want to learn more about the mindset, what you're seeing from some the greats and kind of the network of people that you've been working with, but also kind of your strategy. So let's definitely put a bookmark in that to come back and talk about, because I think we can go even a little deeper into some of your daily mindset strategies, routines. I know you're a really routine driven kind of guy, and how you approach every day. You lighting a candle in the mornings. We'll leave that as a little
every morning.
But so I think that I want people to simmer on some of these things that you talked about relative to the storytelling you had around passion and people being kind of how you build a life by design. But then next time, we're going to talk about some of the daily routines and like the mindset principles and some of the things that we can dig into there too. So I love it, man. Thanks for really joining us, bro.
Stuff. Really
grateful for you.
Listen. I would love to come back. You guys are family, partners. I believe in what we're doing with Limitless. I think I'll leave it at this, because I think there's a lot we can dig into, and I have a passion to give back. A couple things I'll say before we leave. I was standing at this camp in Farmington. I used to go back to Farmington, New Mexico, and I would give back to these kids. And there was grants through the NFL where you could host. They'd pay for it, and you could do a free camp. And it's like, I got to go back, right? I'm going to go back, and I'm going to get. And I really did it for one reason. I did it for this. Because when I sat in some of these NFL meeting rooms, we got to hear from some of the best people in the world, right? That would come speak to us. I was so honored to listen to the people that have succeeded and had done this. But the one that stuck out was they were talking about money, right? And the guy that was talking was a first round draft pick, right? Back, he was done playing at the time, but he had been a first round draft pick, played for a long time, made a lot of money. Okay. Mm-hmm. And I remember this thought coming over me of like, man, love you, love your message, appreciate you sharing, but I'm not you. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm not, like, once again, if you go back to facts, I'm not you though, man. Mm-hmm. I'm not gonna have that when I'm done. Right. Mm-hmm. And so I appreciate it, but like, where's the Charlie? Like, yeah. I need the guy who scraps for 5 years, who plays for league minimum. How do you transition? How does that guy do it? Yeah. Right. And so I have a passion for helping guys transition. Right. Sure. Everyone knows that the average time in the NFL is 2.5 years. It's not the Russell Wilsons. It's not the Tom Brady's. Right. Mm-hmm. Bless those guys. They've done amazing. But like, that's not the story. Right. But anyway, so I'm at Farmington. And I went back and I did this camp for one reason, because what I felt was, as I told my story and then I gave back, right? And Harry, this is something Russell and I talk about a lot, and we share this. You cannot be like 500, 600,000 kids. How many kids came to this camp? Raise their hand. Yeah, but I'm not you. I'm not you though. Mm-hmm. Yes, you are. Yeah. Yes, you are. This is the football field that I grew up playing on at this high school in this town with no scholarships, that played JV as a 10th grader. Yes, actually I am. Yeah. No. Yeah, yes. This town, this community, right? So like they're really cool. Sharing that story, right? And connecting with those that are similar, right? And it's the same thing, Harry, that your brother says. And I love it, right? Every game, he's going to get another opportunity in New York City this fall with the Giants. He has one mindset running onto the field. If I can impact one person, if I can impact one person, child, whatever, whoever it is, I'm going to run out and I'm going to play this game of football in front of however many fans in New York City. If I can impact one person, he's done his job, right? Well, listen, I put us and I challenge you guys. We're in the same category. We may no longer be playing. We may not have the platforms that he has, but how do we impact? How do we give back? And so whether it's little Charlie, whether it's whoever it is, if my story, if I can help, because no, I was you. Like it's facts. What I'm telling you guys is real. No one, this was not supposed to happen. But as we talk about mindset and we go back, it was always going to happen. It was always going to happen. Right. And so I think that it's just, we have to communicate. We have to continue to do this. Right. And I think leading and doing it the right way is super important. So I love you guys. I appreciate you guys.
Man, love you too,
and,
bro.
Excited to catch up again soon.
My guy is the one. We got Charly Martin on, man. How we do that? How we pull that off?
Hey, we begged and pleaded and begged. No, but listen, thanks for coming on, brother. We appreciate you. And for those listening, remember, you don't have to be sick to get better.